April 5th, 82-year-old Junann Fennell was killed. Police say her caretaker, Henry Cardona, shot and killed her after he asked to have her removed from their home. When officers were inside the house prior to her death, they talked about the guns Cardona owned.
You're a firearms guy.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Target 7 has been following this story, asking whether the state's red flag law could have been used. Enacted in 2020, it shows law enforcement and prosecutors can petition the court to have someone's firearms taken if there is a threat that they are going to do harm to themselves or others.
What did you say?
I said, you're fine until I kill you.
This has gotten a lot of attention, including from the Attorney General.
Target 7's John Cardinelli sat down with him to discuss the case. And John, what does he think?
Attorney General Raul Torres says there are flaws with the red flag gun law. He says based on the way it's currently set up, even if a red flag petition had been filed, it wouldn't have made a difference in the Rio Rancho case. Some believe the red flag law could have saved Junann Fennell's life.
In this particular case, it sounds like there was plenty of information that the law enforcement had that would have triggered the implementation of a red flag law.
Others believe the law couldn't have been used.
In this situation, probably not, because there had never been any prior incident. There weren't really threats.
After our story aired, we reached out to New Mexico Attorney General Raul Torres, who recently announced new training for law enforcement on the law.
Based on what was said on the 911 call and based on the statements that she was making at the time, he probably could have filed a petition. It's unclear whether or not there would have been enough of a factual basis for a judge to determine if red flag was warranted under the circumstances.
However, Torres says even if the petition was granted by a judge, Junann still would have likely died. Police responded to the home originally around 7 in the morning, and she was killed just hours later.
That kind of process, even if it's happening on an expedited sort of timeline, is really difficult to do within an hour, a couple of hours.
The current law is also set up that once a petition is granted by a judge, the owner must turn in all their firearms within a 48-hour period. If the guns are not given up, the owner is charged with a misdemeanor.
Waiting 48 hours for somebody to voluntarily come in and turn their guns in, that doesn't make any sense. And that is something that clearly needs to change.
Torres says this is a problem with how our current red flag law is set up, as other states with red flag operate differently.
In other jurisdictions, if a judge has found that there is a credible threat that this person presents the possibility of harming either themselves or someone else in the community, law enforcement officers are empowered to go immediately and recover firearms.
He says another flaw in New Mexico's red flag law deals with who is allowed to be a reporting party. The current law does not contain any mechanism for sealing or redacting a reporting party's name, which could deter someone from reporting dangerous people they know due to a fear of retaliation. Torres feels law enforcement officers should be able to be a reporting party.
They may have reasons for not wanting to serve as the reporting party. That's why it's important to have officers be able to step in and fill the gap.
Our original investigation found there were only 55 cases in which prosecutors or law enforcement filed a petition. 21 counties in New Mexico never used it, including the county where Junann was killed. Most county sheriffs were against the law when it was being debated.
You're gathering on the platform of We the People.
We asked Torres what he will do if the law is deliberately not being used.
If we find out about that, we will take appropriate steps to correct that behavior and make sure that law enforcement understands that it has an obligation to use every available legal resource to protect members of their community.
Torres says next legislative session a package will propose some changes to help enhance the red flag law. For Target 7, I'm John Cardinelli.
For a list of those proposed changes, you can head to KOAT.com. Now, if you have tips for Target 7, call the tip line at 505-884-6347 or email newstips@KOAT.com.